Atma, its Bondage and Freedom, Part 1. According to the Advaita philosophy, there is only one thing real in the universe, which is called Brahman. Everything else is unreal, manifested and manufactured out of Brahman by the power of Maya. To reach back to that Brahman is our goal. We are, each one of us, that Brahman, that reality plus this Maya. If we can get rid of this Maya or ignorance, then we become what we really are. According to this philosophy, each man consists of three parts: the body, the internal organ or the mind, and behind that what is called the Atma, the self. The body is the external coating and the mind is the internal coating of the Atma, who is the real perceiver, the real enjoyer, the being in the body who is working the body or by means of the internal organ or the mind. The Atma is the only existence in the human body which is immaterial. Because it is immaterial, it cannot be a compound, and because it is not a compound, it does not obey the laws of cause and effect, and so it is immortal. That which is immortal can have no beginning, because everything with a beginning must have an end. It also follows that it must be formless. There cannot be any form without matter. Everything that has form must have a beginning and an end. We have none of us seen a form which had not a beginning and will not have an end. A form comes out of a combination of force and matter. This chair has a particular form, that is to say, a certain quantity of matter is acted upon by a certain amount of force and made to assume a particular shape. The shape is the result of a combination of matter and force. The combination cannot be eternal. There must come to every combination a time when it will dissolve. So all forms have a beginning and the end. We know our body will perish. It had a beginning and it will have an end. But the self, having no form, cannot be bound by the law of beginning and end. It is existing from infinite time, just as time is eternal, so is the self of man eternal. Secondly, it must be all-pervading. It is also form. It is only form that is conditioned and limited by space. That which is formless cannot be confined in space. So, according to Advaita Vedanta, the self, the Atma, in you, in me, in everyone, is omnipresent. You are as much in the sun now as in this earth, as much in England as in America. But the self acts through the mind and the body, and where they are, its action is visible. Each work we do, each thought we think produces an impression called in Sanskrit samskara upon the mind, and the sum total of these impressions becomes the tremendous force which is called character. The character of a man is what he has created for himself. It is the result of the mental and physical actions that he has done in his life. The sum total of the samskaras is the force which gives a man the next direction after death. A man dies, the body falls away and goes back to the elements, but the samskaras remain, adhering to the mind, which, being made of fine material, does not dissolve, because the finer the material, the more persistent it is. But the mind also dissolves in the long run, and that is what we are struggling for. In this connection, the best illustration that comes to my mind is that of a whirlwind. Different currents of air coming from different directions meet, and at the meeting point become united and go on rotating. As they rotate, they form a body of dust, drawing in bits of paper, straw, etc. at one place, only to drop them and go on to another, and so go on rotating, raising and forming bodies out of the materials which are before them. Even so, the forces called prana in Sanskrit come together and form the body and the mind out of matter and move on until the body falls down. When they raise other materials to make another body, and when this fails, and when this falls, another rises, and thus the process go on. Force cannot travel without matter. So when the body falls down, the mind stuff remains. Prana in the form of samskaras acting on it, and then it goes on to another point, raises up another world from fresh materials, and begins another motion, and so it travels from place to place until the force is all spent, and then it falls down, ended. So when the mind will begin, be broken to pieces entirely, without leaving any samskaras, we shall be entirely free. And until that time, we are in bondage. Until then, the Atma is covered by the whirl of the mind and imagines it being taken from place to place. When the whirl falls down and the Atma finds that it is all pervading, it can go where it likes, it's entirely free, and is able to manufacture any number of minds or bodies it likes. But until then, it can go only with the world. This freedom is the goal towards which we are all moving.